Sonic the Hedgehog, undeniably a gaming icon. Whether he's a good one or not, really depends on who you ask. Most seem to agree that his older games stand the test of time. Recently, after beating Mania, I decided to go back and play all the classics, starting with Sonic 1, the game that started it all. Does it really hold up to its place in history? No. No, I hate this thing. Sonic 1 is a glorified tech demo that's glory is only there for like a third of the game. It sets the foundations for classic games to come, but like that's just it, a foundation. You don't make steel beams for a building and say, okay, Mrs. Robinson, your house is good to go. Alright, let's start with Green Hill, the level of Sonic. Remember that third of the game I just mentioned? Yeah, this is part of it. Green Hill introduces you to the game the best way possible. You can slow it down, or you can go fast, but either way, the pace remains consistent while not forcing the pace upon you. Each act can be short and sweet, or whatever the fuck you want, as long as you're within 10 minutes, because, you know, fun time limits. Anyone who knows me knows that speed is a non-issue in Sonic games for me. As long as the pace is consistent, I don't care about my speed, but at the same time, I don't want to be forcing the one set pace. Marble Zone is up next. It's consistently slow. And that's not a bad thing. But here's the kicker. You have no say in the matter, you're just fucked to be slow. Marble gives you next to no freedom. You just gotta carefully inch along, and this whole time the zone just looks ugly and Let's talk about the fucking music. There is not a single track in this game I enjoy. Every track is either boring with no life or my ears physically hurt. That's not a joke. They sting. It's so ear-grating to the point where I can't even keep the music in the game on if I have to play through it. This level is also so linear. I've explored all I can and there's next to no alternate paths. It's ridiculous. Everything about this level is tedious, unfun, and there isn't any semblance of replay value. The boss is meh. You gotta keep hitting it while it moves from one side to the other periodically, setting the ground on fire, in which case, jump to the other side. Nothing really special. Next up, Spring Yard Zone. Now, this zone is marginally better than Marble, but it's only really because of the aesthetic and the slight semblance of exploration. Cope. Yeah, I've been trying. Spring Yard has the opposite problem Marble Zone had. Marble allows consistent pace, but there's no freedom to what that pace would be like Green Hill. Spring Yard, however, doesn't force you into one pace, but at the same time, it's all over the fucking place, and you have to fight the stage to make it otherwise. There isn't even much for me to talk about with this stage. It's just boring and inconsistent. The boss is actually kind of cool, though. It dips down in your location and spikes the platform below you, and it pulls it out. You just kind of hit him a bit. It's not hard, but it's a pretty cool idea. Labyrinth Zone. The most infamous stage in the game. I don't think I need to explain this one. Yeah, it's nice and challenging, but the water makes the level such a drag. The controls awfully in the water. I don't really understand. It has the same problem as Marble 2. It's just one fucking stuck and sluggish pace. Plus Act 3 is unfair as shit. Anyone who's played this game knows exactly what I'm talking about. Fuck Act 3. Starlight is the only other zone I can tolerate in this game. The aesthetic is kind of meh. It's like super watered down, like kind of Shadow the Hedgehog colors, except like it doesn't have any other kind of like flair to it to make it interesting. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter because like the level design's super nice. There's different paths and the pacing is great. It doesn't feel dragged down like the other stages, but at the same time, it provides challenge as opposed to like Green Hill. Well, that's the first level, so of course it would be easier. The boss is a bit weird. You have to bounce these bombs off these seesaws at Robotnik, or you can just use them to bounce yourself up at him. It's alright, it doesn't play bad, but I don't know, it's just really finicky and strange. Scrap Rain is the last zone. It's not as bogged down as the others, but it's just generally boring. Nothing particularly happens up until Act 3, where it's just another labyrinth zone. Before then, it's just your standard platforming affair. Nothing hard, but not too easy. Just a sort of level that's there. You beat the White Labyrinth and you make it to the final boss, which is pretty easy. Jump over these electric balls and wait for a button to pop out of these, like, tubes. Oh, that's all. All in all, this game is just lifeless and bland. I couldn't even come up with much to say for an entire second half of the game, including the level I liked. It's functional, but it's not really a game I want to go back to anytime soon. It began my favorite franchise of all time, but damn, what a rocky start.